I say we just do the collection and call it a day. I have a lot to say, but not a lot to say it with. When this happens in my life, I always feel like it's God very personally telling me to shut up. Yeah. If you did not have an opportunity last week to fill out a heart with whatever your heart's desire is, we have these in the foyer. We will add them this week to our banner. You don't have to put your name on it. Nobody's going to know it's you. And what I want you to know is I absolutely believe that God has no judgment on your heart's desire. That the universe we live in is infinite. And that quite likely, that which you really, really intently desire is some way that God is seeking to express itself in the world in a greater way. Because the way God puts its love and its light and its life and its creativity out into the world is by means of us saying yes to these wild and often wacky desires that seem to be birthed by means of us. One of our teachers, Emma Curtis Hopkins, said, this is her quote, she said, God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. Firmament, she says, means definiteness. Waters are thoughts that come and go. We have lots of those. Right? So one has to have some definite ideas of his own in the midst of the thoughts that are urged upon him. Ernest teaches us in the Science of Mind that we have to have both a conscious and subjective agreement. Our conscious mind that says, yes, I want my heart's desire, but also a subjective agreement before we can actually have a demonstration, before we can have a healing, before we can have some result in the world. So just like the idea that the menu is not the meal, we want actual food. We also say that the awareness is curative. So we're spiritual beings made in the image and likeness of God, and I believe that we are right now, as we are, the creative architects of our life experience. And when we do our part consistently, like Jonathan talked about, then God, the universe, shows up and does God's part. Now, God doesn't have any favorites, although the universe does seem to favor the consciousness that is prepared. And that needs to be us. In my world, we're here. We came in. We checked into this hotel to express the love and the light and the creativity of God within us, and also to remember who we truly are as the sons and daughters of the Most High. I talked last week about how it's ours to take responsibility for our dream. That means no blaming anyone. It's never about the other person or they won't let me. Where you are right now is the perfect launching pad for your future. And so, yes, absolutely, you get to have your heart's desire, whatever it is. And I just want to encourage you to be open to that or something better, because that's how we pray. We don't want to outline too much. We want to always be open to whatever it is that we see or something better. For our dream, I think we have to have a very clear focus. That, if your desire is vague, then you have a very blurred focus. You've got to know what your heart's desire is. Nobody's judging you. So you stop judging you. If you don't know, look at your immediate life right now and ask yourself, what would I like instead? What's missing? Right? Look, you come to a Science of Mind church. Don't let other people talk you out of your heart's desire. Don't get caught up in, oh my God, this is too big and at my age, or this is unrealistic. Is there any part of your desire that's already present in your life today then acknowledge that. Be grateful for that, right? Because I think that the true desires come from our heart, not from our ego. Yes, absolutely. It's critically important that you give it your full attention and that you make it your intention to experience it. Because again, it's not just, oh, I would like to have my heart's desire. That's your conscious mind. But what does your subjective mind say? And we have to have both in agreement. So what this means to me is that I have to heal any conflicting beliefs I have, any doubts, any old messages, ideas that are still operating, anything in me that likes to sabotage. You know, the subjective consciousness is what Ernest calls the law. You know, the law of reciprocity, the law of karma, the law of what you put out comes back. And the law only says yes. It doesn't argue. So if you're giving the law mixed messages, what that does is that keeps you and me going in circles, like a little hamster on a wheel. I always think that looks so tragic. You know, it's like, God, poor little guy on a wheel. And then sometimes I feel like that. And I think, wow, poor big guy on a wheel. So I think what we do is we're getting our subconscious mind to accept and believe our dream. Now, your belief, my belief, creates the landscape of our experience. So for me, this begins very simply with how I talk to myself. Because we talk to ourselves all the time, don't we? I mean, from the moment we get up in the morning, there's like a little coffee clutch in my head, you know, just ready to engage. Right? And so here's a very simple, practical way. Just say to yourself, you know, it's good for me to, and you fill in the blank. It's good for me to be perfectly healthy and have a strong voice. It's good for me to be prosperous. It's good for me to be well paid doing work I really love. It's good for me to have a life filled with wonderful, loving people. Bless you. Anything for a blessing. I don't know what's good for you, but you do. God within you does right now. And so I encourage you to start to tell yourself what's good for you. It's good for you to have, it's good for you to be, it's good for you to experience, because that's always imprinting our subconscious mind. Because this is what Ernest teaches us in the textbook, that the subconscious mind produces what we dwell upon. And I know so many people who dwell more on what they don't want than what they do. They dwell on what they don't have rather than what they do have. They dwell on who's not there rather than who is there. Right? So ask yourself, how good am I willing for it to get in my life today, right now? Now, I know a lot of us have wonderful lives right now. Compared to lots of the world, we have nothing to complain about. And for that, we should absolutely feel blessed, very, very blessed. But God is infinite. You playing small, you holding back, you keeping your light under a bushel doesn't make the world any better. One of the things that I've learned through a class that I teach called Living My Life Purpose, it comes up in the early spring, is that when we change our desire from simply accomplishing or getting something for ourselves to actually making a contribution to the world, I think what shifts in us is that we realize that our dream has value and it brings a positive, beneficial experience to other people. So whatever your heart's desire is, if you could focus on the value your dream will bring to the world instead of just focusing exclusively on personal gain. Right? Because what this does is this bypasses the old belief system. Now, Science of Mind offers us a number of things that we can do. So yes, absolutely. Say affirmations that are really affirmations, that affirm you, that lift you up, that build you up, that make you more. Because the subconscious hears that over time, but the trick there is over time. It takes a while. And remember, you and I, we've been thinking the way we've been thinking for a really long time. So it doesn't necessarily change overnight unless it does, right? And sometimes it does. I think with something as important as your heart's desire, it is key to surround yourself with supportive people. So don't tell people your heart's desire if you don't think they're going to be 110% in your corner, right? Because we have our own doubts to deal with. We have that part of our human personality that's already naysaying. We don't need anybody else's. You know? You don't want to look back at the end of your life and say, wow, I could have really had my heart's desire, but I told all the wrong people, and they rained on my parade again and again. I think that we have to pray on a daily basis. Pray in an affirmative way. Not the please God, bring me my heart's desire kind of prayer, but something along the lines of, thank you, God, for fulfilling my heart's desire. Or, I offer my heart's desire as a source of light and love and healing to the world. In its fulfillment, I bring a blessing to all the lives that I touch. Now that's a prayer. That's like a really good prayer. You want me to say that again? Okay. I offer my heart's desire as a source of love and light and healing to the world. In its fulfillment, I bring a blessing to all the lives I touch. See how everybody wins with that? Everybody gets lifted up. So we got to pray. But on the way in, we'll do a little piece of inner work. I ask you to close your eyes and take a breath. Bring your awareness to the pattern of your breathing. And with each breath, allow the area of your heart to expand, becoming richer and fuller and deeper. And allow your desire, your heart's desire, to become completely real for you. Imagine that it's already taken place. How would you feel? How would you be talking to yourself? How would you see yourself with your heart's desire completely realized? Now notice if there are any distractions. Just notice them. They might be doubts or fears. They might be little bits of unbelief. And just continue to breathe and imagine that all of your distractions, the doubts, the naysaying, that they are pulled by gravity right out of you down into the center of the earth. And in the center of the earth, there's molten lava that dissolves them all completely. And further, imagine your conscious mind and your subjective mind are coming together to form a single focus. Make a conscious choice to be receptive to experience your dream with every breath you take. And so as we continue in consciousness now, affirming that God's perfect presence is right here where we are. I know that we are connected with God, that we are connected with each other on the unseen side of life, and I speak this word for each and every one of us, that we are exceedingly blessed this day, that we are all raised up in consciousness, that anything that we have thought or believed that does not serve us anymore, we let it go. It's water under the bridge. It's not here now. And I accept for each and every one of us the path ahead is light, not dark. And so we include in our prayer this morning our friends and family members, our parents and children, all of those that we love and hold dear. And we know that right where they are, God is. We let our prayer be a blessing in the world around us. So where there looks to be so much chaos and discord, we affirm the perfect activity of God. We affirm perfect healing, peace, calm, well-being, all needs met. So any place where anybody is dealing with the appearance of trouble or discord, we say God is right there. Even in the midst of that, God's peace is right there. We bless our church. We bless all churches everywhere. Synagogues, temples, mosques, ashrams, all paths to God. And I'm absolutely convinced that we are blessed by coming together today, that we all get raised up, that healing takes place, that love is the order of the day. And with an open, gracious, full heart, I give thanks that this is the truth. And so it is, and so we let it be. Together we all say, Amen.